I get often asked about drills and all these different things, and as I said, I was never a huge advocate of drills. You know, when I was playing competitively week in, week out. But one of the ones I did play was effectively in the American game. They call it straight pool. In this game, we call it 14-1. And basically, what you do is you break the balls. You can pot any ball that you want, and clear all the balls. And wherever the cue ball then sits, you then re-break the balls again, and you basically pot consecutively until, you know, you miss and whatever your number is. But what that's quite good for is that once you start getting to a high number, you actually start getting a little bit nervous and a little bit tense. And where I'm going with that is that it would be about 13, 14 years ago now. I had an attempt at Morley Sports Lounge, and I was very fortunate that during my practice attempt at 14-1, I had a couple of English Pool Association officials who actually lived in the area at the time, had actually come in to use the club that evening. So it actually got recognised by the BBC. It's actually on the BBC website. And I actually made 456 consecutive balls, which is actually the highest number that's actually been recorded with officials there watching. So basically, yeah, you break the balls, and of course you're trying to keep the cue ball from going off, and you basically pot any ball that you want consecutive, you know, and keep potting, and then when all the balls have been potted, you rack them back up again, and wherever the cue ball then sits is where you play the next break-off shot from. Now, where this is a little bit different to the American game is you just rack the balls up and you leave the cue ball. There is good, because what happens from here is when you break off, you get a free break-off shot, so you don't have to pot off each break. So effectively, if you break from here, again, you can control the white. You get loads of options for what you can go at. And the reason why this is such a really good practice drill is you learn to play calculated cannons. You learn to kind of pick the balls in the correct manner so that you don't get into any trouble. You know, so in this instance here, you go, okay, so these need to be dealt with, but I don't just want to crash into the balls. I want to play them with control, etc., etc., etc. So let's try run a rack. So I've got this situation here, and I've got this situation here. Now, bear in mind, I can take any ball that I want. Okay, but it took around about 2 hours and 40 minutes to actually make 456 balls, and believe it or not, I actually missed quite an easy ball on 456. And what was interesting about it was obviously once you get to 100 or a 200 or 300, depending on what your eye score is, the kind of the nervousness and the pressure kicks in, because you think, if I miss now, I've actually got to go back and start again. So it kind of keeps you concentrated, and as I said, it does actually bring a little bit of nerves into your practice. And you know, a little bit like snooker, you get a little bit of a point scoring system. So you've got a target to beat. You've got a high break to beat, effectively. So we've got the situation here, and I'm going to try and develop this area at some point, but I'm trying to do it all with proper control. So I look at this ball here, and I think there's so many good things that can happen by using this ball to try and develop something. Now, key area here is I don't want to take this ball. This is my rescue ball. As long as I cannon something here, you would think I'm always going to have this. I don't particularly want to take this one, again, because for the same reasons, it could be a rescue ball. Now, difficult for you to see on your camera, but these two balls, the way they're sat, this one of the two will actually go into here if I get nice enough on it. So what I'd probably play here is I'd probably play this shot here, a little bit of side spin. The natural angle's bringing me here, which is no use to me. So I'm going to play with a little bit of side spin, kind of a 3 o'clock, and just come across and just try and rest on the 8 ball. Because if I rest on the 8 ball, I can now pocket this ball, and then I can start to get amongst the difficult balls. I want to try and get in there early. Certainly not going to play too many balls in the open. So first and foremost, play this ball first. Okay, now I potted the ball a little bit thick. I didn't quite allow for the side spin. So what happened was, even though I got the right line, the cue ball was slowed up a little bit because I actually caught the pot a little bit thick. Now, we said we didn't really want to chase anything here. I've got this ball here, so I'm going to play the same shot again, and I'm going to play this and cannon into the 8 ball. I really need to try and get this situation and this issue dealt with. So 6 o'clock on the white. Perfect. So we hit the 8 ball. We got on this one of the 2 that we wanted. So again, just be a little bit careful of what we're doing. So we've got this situation. You can pop the 8 ball whenever you want. It doesn't have to be last. So I'm going to play the one that I've played on. I don't see why I wouldn't. And I'm not going to necessarily play on this one or this one because I know that they're there anyway. So I'm just going to play the shot and almost take what the table gives me. Okay, ideal. So you see the cue ball spinning there. I played it with a bit of right hand spin just so I could kind of punch into the ball. Now that's ideal. So I've now got this situation here to deal with. I'm going to play this ball and I'm going to come back up into here and again sort of see what the table offers me. If I get an angle to deal with this, great. If not, I've got plenty of options where I can come back to it. But this is all about percentages. Don't try and get yourself into a situation where you play a cannon that you don't have to and leave yourself no shot. You know, that would be criminal at this stage. So somewhere in here would be quite nice. So this is just 12 o'clock on the white. And that's ideal because I've landed in such a way where I can pop this ball now and just gently push this ball out the way. And all these balls have been developed with a lot of control. Nothing could really go wrong. So hit the top one of the 2. Like that. Okay, so now we've developed the balls nicely. Things have kind of worked out how we want to. Now, what have we got? We've got this ball. We've got this ball. We've got loads of different options here. I think I would probably play the 8 ball here. I think it's the easiest shot and it's the easiest one to control. Okay, so pop the 8 ball into the centre. Okay. Wasn't really anticipating the cannon on that red. So not ideal, but it's okay to just drop this one into the centre. Nice straight table, always helps. So now I've got some options. Will I land on this ball any better than what I am now? Maybe, but I don't want to leave it there too long and kind of chase it. I could play this ball here and just give this a little bump, or I could play this ball here and just give this a little, just to kind of, there's enough control there. Now, you know, we talk about you shouldn't really cannonballs if you don't have to. But when you know that you can control it and there's nothing that can go wrong, if it does help and free up the situation and take a little bit of emphasis off the positional play, then I don't see any harm in it. So I think you've got this ball here to just push down, or this ball here and just kind of caress across the top of the balls and just develop them a little bit. Loads of options. But I personally would play this ball here now because I feel like, how much better am I actually going to get on this? So I'm going to play this shot now. And I don't want to do anything with the cue ball. I don't see any need to kind of get too flamboyant with it. And just ease it in. Now, a couple of choices here. I could play into the bottom ball. I could kind of play a little bit of a soft draw shot and kind of flick across the 2 balls. So I think I'm just gonna play that. Kind of a 6 o'clock on the white. and just ease across the 2 balls and just flick them. Yeah, I just felt like there was nothing that could really go wrong there. And now it's just a case of, again, just picking the right pattern, not doing anything crazy or getting myself into trouble in any way. I would probably think at this stage this would probably be my last ball. I've no reason to kind of go up and down the table. So I think I'd just drop this one in the middle. And again, a couple of options. I'm probably going to play all three balls into the same pocket here. So I'm going to play number 1. I'm going to play that ball into here and then play these 2 balls into the same pocket. So run this one on the natural to then run this one on the natural. Okay guys, so 13 was our score. Now you can keep doing this consecutively. As I said, fortunately back in 2009, 2010 or something like that, you can actually find it on the BBC website if you put it in. Mick Hill's 14-1 world record, 456 balls. As I said, it took about 2.5 hours. But yeah, the other one, which is the American way of playing the game, which is much more difficult with these balls, which I'll explain to you in a moment, is so. Welcome everyone. So recently I was invited to the Sam Leisure showroom. And again, I often get asked a lot about the table. What table am I playing on? It doesn't look like a Supreme, etc. Now, it isn't a Supreme. It's actually a Sam Atlantic Champion table. We will do a review to tell you all about the different things, the different spec, and all the positives about the table. And so yeah, keep a lookout for that. A big thanks to Sam Leisure for sponsoring the channel, and we welcome you to look at the video, and hopefully you'll love the table just like we do. Hi everyone, and I'm at the Sam Leisure showroom here in Coventry, and I'm with Mike. Nice to meet you, Mike, again. And we're going to discuss the Sam Atlantic table today.
Yes.
And some of the special features that I like about the table, and first one in particular is the rails, that you don't see this kind of aluminium sort of metal rim around the table, which sometimes can be off-putting, a little bit irritating. Can you go into that at all?
Yeah, so we do away with that trim completely, essentially. The reason for that is partly because of the proactive cushion system that's used on the table.
Okay.
The way that system works is that the cushions themselves are completely flush with the top rail, so that trim really is there as a bit of a mask if there's any inconsistencies in height. So because ours are perfectly flush, you can just do without that trim completely.
Yeah, and from a player's point of view, sometimes when you're queuing across that, it can be irritating, the noise, a bit off-putting, and of course it's in the way as well. So
it's a lot nicer to have that flush top rail.
Yeah, no, it is a really good feature. Continuing on with the rails as well, like the idea of this sort of consistent bounce that you tend to find when you're playing doubles or you're playing positional shots, and not getting that kind of like duff noise, a bit that thuddy type noise. Again, is there something that you can tell us about that?
Yeah. So that is purely really down to the proactive cushion system and the fact that we don't have like an MDF wooden top rail here. You've got an extruded aluminium top rail, so it's lighter, but it's also it's heavier duty, heavier wear. Got a bit of a cross section here, to be fair, Mick, so I can kind of show you. Yeah. So this is the aluminium extrusion there, and this is your cushion here. Put that upside down there to kind of put the point across. But on traditional English pool tables, the cushions are normally attached by 3 bolts, essentially 3 screws, 3 bolts there, which means that you get really tight sections and a bit looser sections down a cushion.
Yeah.
The proactive cushion system is essentially the cushion is clamped instead of being bolted on. It's clamped all the way down the whole length of the cushion, which means that it's got the same tightness, essentially the same tightness all the way down that cushion. So if you hit the ball anywhere on that cushion, it will give you the exact same response. it does mean it's easier for reclothing as well and things like that. So there's a lot of benefits for it, but from a player's perspective, it is that consistency, which is key.
This is what the Americans call straight pool. Now, where this differs is, as I said, a much more difficult way of playing the game is you have to leave your last ball on the table and use that ball to then open the cluster of balls, so you don't get the free shot to open the balls. I've got a high run of 240 at this, believe it or not, which was actually incomplete. I had some witnesses at Morley Sports Lounge. I was on 240 and we had to be somewhere or whatever, so I just quit the attempt. And basically what that is you put the ball there to start off, and effectively you pop the ball and go in to the cluster. You see, it's a totally different ball game, and then you have to clear all the balls and you leave the last ball on the table to do the same again. And the same again, and the same again. Much harder. You could argue that 240 was a better score than 456, considering the rule difference. Now, the reason why this isn't played so much on this style of table is because the cue ball is smaller and lighter, and it's really difficult to get any motion on the cluster of the pack when you go into it. If you play American pool, the balls are really heavy. The cue ball is the same weight and the same size. So when that shot is played, you get much more of an explosion on the pack. You know, I think the world record I think is Jason Shaw. I think is something like 700, which is a fantastic score. But yeah, so that's the. I would say that doing it the first way round, 100 is a very good score. Anything above 100 is good. Playing this way round, I'd probably say anything above 30 would be good. Anything above 75, 100, now you're starting to go into the realms of, you know, probably very good, exceptionally good, in all honesty. So effectively you would try and clear these balls. We'll give it a whirl. And you haven't got nowhere near the same luxury this time of just keep kind of picking them off. So I need to get into the cluster. This here would probably be a really good ball that you'd like to leave till last, because it sits to go into the cluster again. But, you know, whether we've got that luxury is another thing. So I'm probably going to have to go into these with a, not a blatant look, but with an element of needing something to happen. So I'm going to play this one into the middle, and I'm just going to try and get into the gap of these balls and try and get some movement. Okay, I'd be very happy the way I've played that. The 8 ball in the centre would be nice, because then I can get some form of spread again. That does offer me that. So even though it looks like I've just crashed into them, I haven't. You know, I have picked a gap. I have played a shot where I thought the balls would spread and would be in my favour. So I'm going to play the 8 ball here, because that allows me just to develop a few more. And it's now at this stage where I may start to consider what would be my last ball. Now, you always rack the pack with the middle ball. If it's the 8, it can be, it doesn't matter, but on the spot. So take into consideration that the front ball is going to be missing, because it's going to be the one that you're going to leave out to effectively pot and try and crash into them again. So at this stage here, that is quite a nice ball to be able to go back into the balls again if we can clear these. So at this point now I'm looking and going, I don't really want to touch this. But I'm also looking and thinking, can I leave a ball to be able to leave an angle on that ball to then go back into the cluster again? So when you talk about like drills and you talk about like practice, ways to practice, this for me would be much more encouraging and much more interesting than doing drills, to be quite honest with you. So I'm going to play the yellow into the corner. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't. And kind of just sneak past my own ball. Now, we want this last at this stage. That could be last as well, either two of these balls. So can we try and plot our way around without potentially moving And it's quite a good game. It's almost like a little bit kind of chess with balls, if you like. And you know, those that know me know I like a game of chess. So again, this one, and just kind of float back through. So always keeping yourself up. We're not necessarily playing on something. This is a ball I'd like to get rid of. So I think I could actually play the red here into the corner and come back up for that one potentially. Okay, a little bit heavy. I was hoping to maybe catch that a little bit fuller. So we've still got this ball here, which isn't of much use to us. With the yellow in the centre, which might be a little bit risky. We've got the red into the corner. I feel like we're probably going to have to play this here. And I feel like I'm going to have to draw back into the cluster and try and make something happen. Okay, so not bad. We're plotting our way around. This is a nice ball to potentially come here at the end. I quite like that. So let's see if we can kind of plot our way through a little bit. Let's make the choice now. Is this last? I think this is sitting a little bit higher of the two. So I kind of like that one. So let's try and put this in the middle. Stay still. Okay. So I think this is our ball, and I think probably come back to somewhere where we are now. Or we could play the plant actually. I think I'll play the plant. But if I play the plant, I can't use that ball to get onto this one. And I'm already looking at that little natural angle there. So I'm going to play the one in the corner. I'm going to play a two-way shot. I've got the one at the top, or I've got the yellow. Nice, I'll take that. So this is starting to get inviting. Now I think I'm going to play to here. And so I've got a natural to then play a natural. So I'm going to play this with a hair of spin actually, just to flick round. Okay, all the time leaving this ball, because I've already decided 10 shots ago that I'm playing this last. So again, just float this, just kind of two rails for a choice of two balls. Easy, easy, easy. Fractionally overhit that. Got a little bit excited with that one. I wanted to be straight on this. And bearing in mind, I've made my decision. That wasn't the best shot I've ever hit, I must be honest. So I'm going to have to play this slightly. No, it was an easy enough shot, but I've just got to be a little bit careful now. What I don't want to do is leave the angle that sends me wide, because I'm only ever good if I'm here. I want the angle where I take this line. It gives me more freedom and more margin for error to be good on that breaker ball. So, bit of care on this. Hit that one nicely. So nothing for short, but nothing for ridiculously too far either. So somewhere in here, let's see if I can get this right. It's a bit of a fiddly type shot, this. Perfect. So what we now do is we score ourselves 14. We then re-rack the balls. I'll put the 8 ball in the middle just because it's what we're used to, so don't confuse anybody. And effectively, okay, and we're left with that situation. So we've racked the balls back up. Now, if this ball was in the triangle, then you've lost your go basically, because this is a nomination game. So you can't just smash the pack open and pop one and continue unless you nominate one of them. So effectively, if you'd left that into the triangle, it's sort of end of break. When you play tournament straight pool, that's a different thing, because you can play a safety shot, you know, and obviously your opponent gets his go or her go and vice versa. But obviously in a practice session for yourself, you're not going to start playing safety shots, are you, at straight pool? So we're now going to pop this ball and go into the pack and do it again. So here we go. Okay, so I missed the ball, unfortunately, but if I'd have made the ball, then we continue on. And in this instance, just for example, we could take a look and we go, okay, have we got a breaker ball? This would be the breaker ball. So if we could clear all the balls and then put this ball here, and we go again and again. And I think it's a really, really good practice, really good training aid. It gives you a scoring system. As I said, this would be the ultra advanced. Any score over 50, 75, 100, but you know, you're talking very, very good scores. Or we can play what we call the 14-1, which was the previous one, where you break the balls each time with a free shot, clear them, and wherever the ball sits, you break from there. If the ball sits in the triangle, you just pull it back and break from beyond the line. So, thanks for watching. Comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video.